Hi everyone, my name is Maddie, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video which is Dart Attack choosing my April and May TBR. So it is that time again, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail. Dart Attack is back around. It has somehow been 2 months since we did this last, even though it really doesn't feel like it, but we are back. I will update you in a second on how my February and March TBR went and whether I succeeded, but then we're going to get straight into April. But before we do any of that, we're going to take 2 seconds to do a moment of appreciation for my new jumper because I am obsessed with it. It is rainbow and it says emotional. It feels very appropriate for my moods at the moment. We love it. That's the moment of appreciation. It had to be called out. So February and March, I didn't have a particularly over-the-top TBR as I'm doing all this year, or at least planning to do all this year. I'm doing 6 throws for Dart Attack, and I thought with the TBR I had, it'd be easy. No trouble whatsoever. I did end up failing on a really annoying point, and it is actually going to trigger a slight change to the game. So I'll run through all the books and then we'll talk about why and how the game is going to change slightly. So my first prompt was graphic novel, and for that I read My Brother's Husband. It's a manga technically. For me, I rolled it into graphic novel when this kind of prompt comes up because I don't have them separate. So My Brother's Husband I read for that. Next, I got an outer bullseye, which meant I could read any book, but I had to choose it in the last video, and I chose All Systems Red by Martha Wells, which I have read. And I then got outer bullseye again, so same thing, any book, but I had to choose it in that video, and this is where I failed, because I chose Robber Girl by S.T. Gibson, because I was planning to read it for Polathon. I hit a bit of a slump at the beginning of February, I failed completely with Polathon and didn't read this book, and I haven't felt like reading it since, because I specifically wanted to read it for Polathon. So I've not read it because I'm not going to force myself to read books I don't want to. So that is the prompt that is going to change. So that outer bullseye is no longer going to be pick any book, but you have to decide right now. I have changed both outer and inner bullseye, and I'll let you know now what they're going to be. So going forward, until I change it again, I know that the outer and inner bullseye have changed so many times in the creation of this game. But what they're going to be at least for these 2 months, and I may just do it as like they're slightly different each time, but what they're going to be for these 2 months, if they come up, which inevitably they now won't because I'm talking about it, the outer bullseye is going to be a completely free mood read. I don't have to pick it in the video, it's just the prompt mood read goes onto my TBR as that throw, and that is all good. And then the inner bullseye is going to be that I get to buy any book I want, but it has to be read within the 2 months. I don't have to choose which book I'm buying in that video. I can choose it at a later date if I want to, but I may well choose it in the video because it's good fun. And so it's kind of a similar vibe of I have to read that specific book, but it's also a free book to buy outside of Book Buy and Bam Bingo, which is good fun. And we all like buying new exciting books and reading them straight away. Anyway, carrying on with the TBR, the next prompt I had was randomise, and for that I ended up reading Tender is the Flesh. I have a whole vlog where the Dart Attack board randomly picked this book for me, and this is what I read. Then for series, I read House of Sky and Breath. It's the second book in a series. It came out in February, I was gonna read it. Then for one word title, I did read Rhapsodic. Not much to say, it's a one word title. And then the final thing was 2 cozy reading nights. I did one which I specifically vlogged, specifically planned, which there's a video of. I think it's the same one as the Tender is the Flesh randomised video. Maybe? I think it is. And then I haven't specifically planned another one, but I've been working from home for the last month, so pretty much every night has been a cozy reading night. So I feel like that is definitively checked off for the second one of those. So that is how March went, February and March. Not a bad reading time in the end. Frustrating because I read about 16 books, I think, across the 2 months. Actually, maybe even 20 books. And couldn't complete 6 prompts, even though only 5 of them were bookish because I didn't read Robber Girl. So very annoying, hence why I'm getting rid of that prompt because I can have a fantastic reading time, and if there's one book I'm not fancying, I can fail. So that's why we're changing that. But we are now going into April and May. Very quickly, before we do the TBR, I am participating in a readathon. Well, I'm actually kind of hosting a team for a readathon, which is REALMATHON, created by Covers with Cassidy, which is starting and going on throughout April. I am ruler of the realm called Serane, along with Rye from Rye's Reading Corner. Obviously, I'll link all this information down below. And so I will be reading for that in April. I'm not going to talk through in this like a specific TBR for that. I think there's like 40 prompts. So my plan is very much to read what I want to read and when I finish a book, I will look through the prompt list and decide which ones it fits. That's about as sensible as I'm going to be with that. I cannot plan to complete 40 prompts. I cannot plan that specific TBR. The one thing to note is my team's subgenre is whimsical fantasy, so I may try and pick up a couple whimsical fantasies throughout the month because, you know, I want to, and it will help with points, but again, nothing overly specific. The only other thing is I do have a couple videos planned, which I'd love to film in the next couple of months, which require some specific books. But just like last time, this is going to be TBR/Piles of Possibilities, so I'm not going to come out of this video with 6 set books, which are the ones I'm going to read. I'm going to come out of this video with 6 to 10, who the hell knows how this will go, prompts, which I then have to complete and kind of readathon feel over the next 2 months. I will suggest which books I might read for each prompt as we go along, but I can read whatever I want as long as they fit later. So as ever, we will be doing 6 throws to start. The tally's looking pretty chill because it's only the second one of the year, so there's a decent chance we might get through without adding any throws. Even if we do add some, it may only be 1 or 2. So I'm pretty confident, feeling pretty good about that. I have had people saying like, oh, you should find a way to reduce the tally because inevitably you'll get to 3. And like, that's true, but that's also funny. And I'm not too concerned because I'm only playing 6 times this year, so like, it's not gonna be that bad, it'll be fine. So the first thing we're gonna do is replace the prompt on yellow. Yeah, yellow, because that's where we ended last month. And then we will get into throw number 1. Okay, so replacing the prompt on yellow, we're gonna do some shuffly. I don't know which prompt this is, I'm not gonna pick it, but I just picked it up and there's so many holes on the back from where I've thrown badly before. Oh, that makes me laugh so much. Oh dear. Anyway, let's go with one somewhere in the middle. This one. And with that replaced, let's do the first throw. Okay, so the only colour I'm really trying to avoid, I guess, is light orange. Though, I say this very optimistically, I kind of wouldn't mind getting a few extra prompts this time, like genuinely wouldn't mind at all, because I, have been kind of smashing reading. That may go to pot. It's partly because I've been working from home, so I have loads of time to read. And that could change at literally any moment whenever I'm put on my next project. But like, I've been smashing reading. Also, spoiler, bingo for March, April has been going scary well. Like, we're not even finished March and I'm almost done with it. So like, I don't have to worry about prompts for that. So I wouldn't mind if this gets a couple extra. So I guess kind of avoiding light orange, but like, I also wouldn't be mad at all if we end up there. I also, because it was 2 months ago, have no idea what is on this board at all. It could be anything. And also, if the prompts are in the wrong order, I'm sorry, I took them off to film something else and I dropped the stack. So I did my best. I think they landed mainly in the right order, but maybe not quite. Anyway, I'm gonna stop yammering on. Let's do throw number 1. Red. What's red? Okay, red is, ooh, seasonal read. Okay, so throw number 1 was seasonal read, if I can reach it. I have a few options for this. This could be really anything. I don't have strong feelings for what I'm gonna read in the next 2 months. That is a plane, and that is close. Anyway, I live quite near an airport and planes have been going overhead a lot today, but that one's close. Normally I can just see the trail. I can actually very much see the plane. You don't need to know about this, God almighty. Anyway, so I have a couple options. I have 2 sets of reasoning. One is cover. Obviously it's spring in the UK at the moment. Both of these feel like spring vibes. One because, you know, all the flowers, and one just like really colourful. So either of these give me kind of spring vibes. But then we also have a whole load of queer YA contemporary. All of these give me spring vibes. They're fun, cutesy YA rom-com-y things. So any of those. I should probably tell you the titles of these, shouldn't I? It's got The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. This is like a speculative, portal, fantasy, historical kind of thing, which I love. The Idiot by Alif Bachman. This is like a new adult college set contemporary story of some regard. And then we have Cafe Con Lychee by Emery Lee, which is as I said, a YA queer contemporary with a trans main character. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's queer in many, many ways. We have If You Still Recognize Me by Cynthia So, which is a sapphic YA fantasy, and Milo and Marcos at the End of the World. Marcos? Why can I not say that name? I've heard that name said before. Marcos. I don't know. At the End of the World, which is a male YA contemporary. It's Killian, and it's about like the end of the world and how these people react to it. So it sounds really interesting and a little bit different, so I guess slightly less contemporary, but contemporary vibes. Options. It may be none of these, but maybe one of these. The one other option entirely is a book that comes out in May, which is Seasonal Fears by Sean Maguire, because that's a very different take on the prompt, but it's seasonal because it comes out this season and it literally has the word seasonal in the title. So I may also go with that, we'll see. It's one of those I'm really excited for, but I'm not sure I'm gonna read right away because I'm scared of it. Anyway, replacing the prompt on red, we are going to go with, always from the middle somewhere, this one. On to throw 2. Okay, moving on to throw number 2. I'm still making no attempt at aiming because I do not care enough to do so, so we're just gonna throw and see where it ends up. Dark green, I think. Let's see what it is. Dark green is... Ooh, where is it? Ah! New author. Okay, so throw 2 has given me new author, and when I got that, my first thought was like, there are endless opportunities for this, and like, there definitely are, but I'm also kind of struggling. So this could be literally anything. I have some books I'm kind of intrigued to buy, which are by authors I've never read. I definitely own 1,000,001 other books than the 2 I'm going to show you. Like all but the 10,000 Doors of January from that previous list. Any of those could work, but we have 2 others here. One I'm almost certainly going to read in April, which is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I've not read any Susanna Clarke yet, so very intrigued to give Piranesi a go, and this is actually for my company's book club, which is happening right at the beginning of April, so I need to get this read for that. So I will probably be reading Piranesi at some point towards the beginning of the month. Another one is Kings of a Dead World by Jamie Mollart. This is one I'm really intrigued by. This is a dystopian story following where the world's kind of gone wrong, we've run out of resources, and so they've put everyone in the world into cryogenic sleep, and you're woken up in intervals for short periods of time to experience the world, and then you're put back into sleep. Something's about to happen, everyone is about to wake up. It sounds really interesting. I think I'm gonna really like it. I've had the arc of this for over a year. This is the finished copy. So I need to read this damn book, and I could definitely read it. Maybe one of these, maybe something else entirely. This prompt could literally be anything. It's actually really interesting because I always think of myself as someone who reads more from authors I don't know than authors I do. But that's actually really not true, I don't think. I have been doing a lot of rereading recently, which skews it a bit. But even just looking at my shelves, like there's so many books where I'm like, yeah, that one. Oh no, wait, I definitely have read from that author before. And I use Callpile at the moment. One of the stats on there is this a new author to you or read from before? And it amazes me how often I say read from before. Like probably about 70% of the time at the moment, which is really interesting. It's also because I read a lot of series, meaning obviously anything past the first book is read from before. But anyway, that was throw 2. We've put the little pin in. Oh, I need to replace the prompt. I was gonna go straight on to throw 3 without replacing it. How dare I? Anyway, let's go with this one. Okay, throw 3. Okay, throw number 3. Still not aiming. It could go anywhere. Let's see. Dark orange. That's safe, somehow. Let's see what it is. Dark orange is anticipated. Okay, so for throw 3, we got anticipated. And for this, I normally go either with an anticipated release, so a book coming out soon that I've been looking forward to, or a book that I've just been looking to read for a really long time, been like anticipating getting to. So a few things to work for. Obviously, any of these 3 arcs, because these are all anticipated releases, these 2 for May, this one for June. So that absolutely works, all 3 of those. I would say especially this one. This is definitely, of these 3, the one I was most excited for. When I got emails from the publishers, the Harper 361 comes in a newsletter with loads of them, and then you just select which ones you're interested in. And this was the one off the list that I was like, I've heard about that, I'm already anticipating it. And then this one, the publisher reached out to me individually, so it wasn't one I was wildly anticipating before that point, although I am now. So this is probably the closest. Obviously Seasonal Fears by Sean Maguire, if I get to it. any other books being released in the next couple months, I cannot off the top of my head remember what books I'm looking forward to, but I'm sure there are some. And similarly, any book that is currently sat on my like want to buy list, if I suddenly go and buy one of those, that 100% counts, because like it will be anticipated, to say the least. So again, a slightly vague prompt. I can make it work for anything. Not that I don't always make my prompts work for anything. So yeah, we'll go with those. And replacing the prompt on dark orange, we're gonna go somewhere in the middle here. This one. I'm actually now like really starting to hope I hit colours I've already hit, because I love the 3 prompts I've got. They're all really vague and I could make them work for anything. We need something, come on. Anyway, throw 4. Okay, throw 4. Am I aiming? No, let's just go. Light orange! We have to add a throw! Let's see what it is. Light orange is... ooh, someone's favourite of last year. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some research for this one. Basically, it's any book off a favourites list from someone last year, so I've watched loads of people's favourites videos. I don't remember what books were in them at all, so I'm gonna go back at some point and make a big old list of books that could fit this. If I have time to do it before editing this, I will insert a thing now for, these are like 5 contenders, maybe, but if you're not seeing that, then I've not had time, and keep an eye on vlogs, because I'll probably tell you when I'm doing this. Okay, obviously there's no point turning the camera around because I've said what I'm gonna say on that prompt, so let's just replace that prompt and then we'll go on to throw number 5 out of 7 now. I'm quite excited to have some more throws. I love playing. This one. Okay, throw number 5. I know where I'm up to. Oh my god. Light green. That's safe. Let's see what it is. Light green is previous TBR. Okay, so surprisingly, I actually know a few options for this without doing any research, that being previous TBR, because this has been one of my book bingo prompts for the last couple months, and so I made a list a while ago of all the books that have been on previous TBRs. So I've picked up 3, which are probably the most likely ones, though I'm pretty dead certain I already know which one I'm going to read. The one I'm almost certain I'm going to read is The Queen of Eoflaria, because one of my bingo prompts is to complete a previous TBR, and by reading this book, I will complete my June TBR from last year, so I'm probably gonna read this if I'm honest. Yeah, this is a light fantasy, queer, sapphic with dragons story. Very basically, you're following a princess, I think, who's being sent to another realm to marry their king, and whilst she's travelling there, the king dies. And so by the time she gets there, they're like, well, okay, you can marry the next in line, our queen. So she marries the queen. It's great, I love it. It's a fantastic little book, which I've been dying to reread, so I'm thinking that's gonna be what I read. 2 other options if I'm not feeling that though are Meet Cute Diary by Emery Lee, which is a trans YA contemporary, or Sweet Hand by N.G. Peltier, which is a romance. Both good books, both books I'm wanting to read, both have definitely been on TBRs before. So any of these 3 or a few others, but these are the most likely ones, but most likely going to be The Queen of Eoflaria. And let's replace that prompt. We are going to go with that, I think is the right way up, that one. On to throw number 6. Okay, throw number 6. There's definitely some scary areas starting to appear, but I don't have good enough aim to try and avoid them, so we're just gonna throw. We're gonna go, I'm aiming for like blue and purple, because I've not had really any blue and purple so far this year. So let's go over that way a little bit. Light blue! Look at that! Skill! And light blue is favourite author. Okay, so this next prompt is favourite author, and this is actually quite hard unless I want to reread something, because unsurprisingly, a lot of my favourite authors, I've read most of their books. You know, that makes sense, doesn't it? So it makes it quite difficult. So options that we have on ebook, I have Guarding Temptation by Talia Hibbert. That could work. Talia Hibbert's definitely a favourite author. Obviously Seasonal Fears when it comes out by Shauna Maguire. Melt With You by Jennifer Duggan could be coming out in May. I can't remember if it's May or June. if it's May, I will likely buy it and read it then, so that would also work. Obviously I could do a reread, so like the 10,000 Laws of January or something I'm considering rereading, that would work. Then we have two other options here. One, A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. Definitely one of them we need to get to for ages. Feels like autumn vibes to me, so I might be saving it for later in the year. But that's a definite option. It's like a witchy, sapphic story of some description. And then also Wolf Song by TJ Klune. Definitely a contender. I do enjoy TJ Klune's books. Any of those. But that's quite a difficult one, unless I want to do a reread. Because it's also defining what counts as a favourite author. So if I've read one book from an author and really enjoyed it, does that count? For example, I'm thinking like the Murderbot Diaries, I want to continue that series. I've read 4 of them, I've really enjoyed them. Would I consider Martha Wells a favourite author? I don't know, I've only read one of her bodies of work, which is the Murderbot series. So I don't know, it's really good, I don't know if I'd consider her a favourite, but like Becky Chambers, I've read one book from, one novella at that, and I consider them a favourite author because I loved that book so wholeheartedly and I love them as an author. I follow them on social media and I just think they're fantastic. So, difficult, very difficult. Another option actually, I do have The Drowned, which is a graphic novel by Laini Taylor and her husband Jim DiBartolo. And obviously Laini Taylor's a favourite author, no question. So, lots of options, a little bit of uncertainty? What do you define as a favourite author? I don't know. Anyway, after that little debate and discussion, let's replace the prompt on light blue so we can do throw number 7. We'll go with this one. Okay, throw number 7. Potentially the final throw. Potentially very much not. But we'll just throw and see what happens. I don't really care if it's not, so let's just see. Red. Possibly double red. Definitely not safe either way. Let's see what it is. We're gonna do another throw though. And red in this instance is phone ban. Okay, this is one of my favorite prompts, phone ban. I'm so hyped for this. Basically, I will throw again, and then the colors are gonna be numbered. So red is 1, pink is 10, I think. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Red is 1, pink is 10. It goes round clockwise, and whichever color I land on is how many hours. At some point throughout the month, 2 months, I have to pick a day and go that many hours with my phone completely off. Let's see. Last time I did this was 8 hours and I read like 3 books in that time, so we're gonna see how this time goes. I'm gonna aim quite high. That's really low. Okay, I got 4 hours. So at some point in the next 2 months, I have to do a 4-hour-long phone ban. I may try for longer, we'll see, but I have to do 4 hours. And replacing that prompt, let's go, oh my god, with this one. And throw number 8, kinda hoping this is the final throw now, but also I'm not gonna mind too much if it's not, honestly. But let's just throw and see, kinda hoping it's the final one though. Light blue, that's still just about safe. Let's see what it is. Light blue is new series. Okay, final prompt, new series. I have 4 options here. There's definitely other options if I want to buy a book, so like some romance series I've been wanting to start, so I could read one of them. The 4 options I have here are Knight's Shadow by Sebastian D. Castell. Not Knight's Shadow, that's the second book. Traitor's Blade by Sebastian D. Castell. This is like a big fantasy quartet that Jade loves. It's a definite option. I have started this before, but I'm still casting it as a new series because I only got 100 pages in. It's been kind of keeping my, or like sparking my interest recently, so maybe this. Another series which I'm claiming as a new series, even though people might debate it, is Graceling by Kristen Cashaw. I have read the first 2 books of this series, but in like 2012, maybe 2013. I don't know when these came out. Were they even out then? It was a bloody long time ago, basically. Yeah, okay, these came out in 2008, so it could have even been earlier. These were some of like the first YA books I read, and I've not read them since, and I want to continue the series, so these are newly owned. I haven't read them in a decade. I wouldn't consider this like a series I'm currently in the middle of, so I'm considering this starting a new series. This is a YA fantasy, which I'm super intrigued by. Then I think I'm less likely to start this one, but I could. A Long Way to Small Angry Planet. I said earlier I love Becky Chambers. I've been wanting to try more of their books. maybe this is the time. This is like a sci-fi, very queer, with lots of found family, as far as I know. And then another series I have actually been meaning to get on with is The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. This is the follow-up to the Percy Jackson series, The Heroes of Olympus. Definite contender, especially as middle grade is sat there as a prompt on my bingo board that I'm not ticking off. And I think these are these might be YA technically. I think these might actually be YA. That's annoying. Percy Jackson's middle grade, technically. I don't know. Anyway, I do want to read the series. So there are 4 options for new series. So just to quickly run through for anyone that is like me and has lost track, my prompts to complete over the next 2 months are seasonal read, a book by a new author to me, an anticipated read, someone's favourite of last year, something that was on a previous TBR of mine, something from a favourite author, I have to ban myself from my phone for 4 hours at some point, and I have to read a new series, start a new series. So that's actually going to be pretty intensive. That's really varied. Okay, so my camera overheated and turned itself off and I'm not quite sure what I was saying. But that is it. That's the TBR. It feels quite challenging, but I think a lot of that challenging feeling is from the fact that so many of those prompts could be filled by so many different books, meaning it's kind of hard to plan without being really prescriptive and being like, yeah, I have to read this exact book. Normally a prompt I can fill with like 2 to 3 books I'm interested in, and so then I'm pretty limited and it can guide my reading. This feels very vague, so I'm going to go more with the tact of mood reading and then ticking off a prompt whenever I can, and then inevitably getting to the end of May and realising that I've left it way too late and I can't finish it all. But, you know, it's fine. So that's the TBR. REALMATHON in April. Gonna be doing lots of reading for that. Hopefully a lot of you are as well. That's it. That's it. I'm quite excited. I'm still obsessed with this jumper. I've spent the entirety of filming this video just looking at myself in the viewfinder, loving my jumper. It's so cute and colourful. I love it. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up this video before I keep rambling forever. So that's it for Dart Attack. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, as always, the little dart emoji, and what is the top book on your TBR for April and May for the next 2 months. And also, if you're taking part in REALMATHON, let me know which realm you're going to be a part of. I need to know. Subscribe if you want to see more bookish content from me. Links down below to all of my other social media if you want to check any of those out. But that is it for this video. So bye, and I'll see you in the next one.